welcome to our first podcast. My name is Divya and I am the host for today's podcast. The topic of our podcast is organization culture, and to share this knowledge and experience with you all, we have a very special guest who has worked with multiple organizations and has several years of experience. Welcome, Divya.
Thank you so much, Navneet, for inviting me to this lovely platform of podcast. It's very first for me as well. To introduce myself, hello everyone. My name is Divya. I'm an HR professional. I have around 15 plus years of experience. Currently, I'm working with Thinknyx Technologies. I am heading human resources at this organization. On personal front, I'm a mother of two babies. My first baby is Diya. She is 2.5 years old. She's my darling daughter. She always keeps me on my toes. And my second baby is Thinknyx Technologies. I call it my baby because I'm really emotional about Thinknyx. And I'm really happy the way things have shaped up for Thinknyx. I was the one who started HR practices at Thinknyx, and I'm really happy about the way we are doing and our culture has evolved. Thank you so much. And a special mention about our host. I have been asked to be as candid as possible in this podcast and add a little bit of humor too to keep our audiences engaged. Thank you. Thank you, Navneet.
Okay, so as you mentioned that you did engineering and then you shifted your career towards HR.
Yes.
So she proved that engineers can do everything.
Yes, why not?
So as you mentioned that you are currently working with Thinknyx.
Yes.
So can you share some insights of Thinknyx organization culture since our topic is organization culture?
Yes. See, Thinknyx, as always call it my baby, and I'm really emotional about it. I mentioned in my introduction, Thinknyx has a very unique organization culture because it is curated basis our working experiences. The founders and myself, I was involved in initial thoughts for which we put in for the organization culture. Since it's based on our working experiences, it's very unique, it's very different. We have taken the things we really liked while working in certain organizations, and we removed the things we didn't like. We really want our people to strive for excellence in their day-to-day job, and we really believe in fun at work. There is no politics happening at Thinknyx. When I say so, I really mean it. There is no politics happening. We really value work-life balance of our people, and we have incorporated the same thoughts while weaving and curating the organization culture of Thinknyx. We have a merit-based recognition system. We are purely merit-driven, and we really want our people to follow the values because they really believe in those values of the organization, not because the organization wants them to follow those values. So we have a very unique, employee friendly, very cool organization. So yeah, this is about Thinknyx organization culture.
So why are you so focusing on organization culture? Like there must be other ways to boost up the employees of the organization. Why are you so focusing on organization culture?
See, organization culture, it really means how your people define the vibe of your office, how they see or they perceive the goals of the organization or the values of the organization. So, organization culture is really important, I would say, and to have a very strong organization culture is even more important. And see, when it's a rare magical moment when the energy, the benefits, the people, the work, they all align together. It's a rare moment, and it's not happening because of any accident. There's someone behind the scenes working to create that extraordinary workplace culture. So when where people feel so comfortable, they feel so valuable, they see what they are doing is contributing to the larger purpose. It's not an accident. It's really hard work, hard labor happening behind the scenes. Generally, founders and the HR are involved in creating that organization culture, but it's a constantly changing thing, and it's an employee powered concept, I would say. And having a strong organization culture is really important in your organization because you are building your advocates. The organizations are these days focusing on organization culture so much because you can invite criticism also. Because organization culture has the power to convert your employees into advocates. When they feel valued, when they feel recognized, when they feel appreciated, when they feel they are fairly paid, they turn into advocates. And the best way to maintain natural culture champions in the organization is hire the people who are a culture fit with your organization. It is also important to have a strong organization culture because you are building your brand identity as well, internal as well as external. It is the way you do business. Your organization culture defines how day-to-day interactions happen on the floor with each other or the outside world, how the stakeholders perceived your organization. That's the way, that's the reason it is very important.
Okay. So are leaders responsible for the maintenance of this organization culture?
Absolutely, definitely, yes. I think leaders are the heart and soul of this organization culture. Leaders are the first point of contact, they are the face of the organization. I think the connection between the leader and employee has to be strong. So that the employee really value the organization culture and believe in the organization culture. If this link is weak, the leader and employee link is weak, then the negativity happens. And that's the reason leader are the one who lead, who inspire, who give mentorship to the employees. I think that bond has to be strong and their role is very key because leaders are the one who are indirectly or directly responsible for overall employee experience, employee well-being, employee engagement. So yes, they play a very important role.
Okay. So, like, if someone who is a leader of his or her organization and someone is watching you, can you give some tips or how can a leader build a strong organization culture?
Yes, see, leaders, I know they are very busy in their day to day work, doing business, thinking about the number game always, but their focus on culture is equally important because culture is directly or indirectly proportionate to your business because it's the way your organization is doing business. I have seen and researchers have proven that organization who invest time in building good organization culture, they perform better, they have better people and business results. So the the leaders have to focus. There are some way in which they can focus on building a good organization culture or a strong organization culture. One is being a role model, really walk the talk. Whatever you're preaching to your staff, I think you have to do the talking yourself. And I think it's really important for leaders to apologize in case they feel something went wrong, in, they have maybe breached the trust of their people. I think immediate actions should be taken. The second way in which they can focus is by focusing on, I would say, providing employees a very open communication channel where senior leaders can directly interact with the employees and on the spot answers are given to the people. This would increase trust in with people. Third way I would say is actions should follow the feedback. The feedbacks you are taking should not be only on papers. Meaningful actions are really required to uh, build that faith in the system, in the leaders. So that connection is very important and we should take meaningful actions. Fourth one, I would say, don't punish for failures. Don't punish if your people fail. Ask them to learn from their failures and improve their and do some improvements. And I think failure is really not there for as should not be considered as a punishment for the staff. I think, and fifth one is creating a culture of appreciation, recognition. Recognize small wins, appreciate people. There should be positivity around. I think these are the some ways in which leaders can focus on build good and strong culture.
Okay. So Divya, can you tell us how should a leader lead?
All right, this is a very interesting question. I would say it's very important for leaders to build a good organization culture. So it's very important for them to lead in a particular way, I would say. For me, leaders are the face of the organization, and I think a lot of effort should be taken in choosing the right leader, because in the end they are responsible for the business results as well as people results. It's really important decision. I would divide, or I would say I define personally leaders by a leader who is using his position as a leader, and the which is called a positional authority leader, and the second one is influential authority leader. So the positional authority leaders are the people where there is a lot of mistrust happening, lot of insecurities, lot of micromanagement happening. People are following them because they are appointed as a leader, or they have the power to be a leader or a manager, I would say. So but positional authority leaders, they really don't want to invest much time in the careers, in building careers of their people, I would say. And the second one, the influential leader, I think that's the my kind of leader, are really the leaders who people want to follow by heart, and they really feel emotional about those leaders, and they are the one who think about the career of their employees. There is a lot of trust, there is a lot of positivity, there is a lot of happiness around happening, and these are the leaders who believe the promises I make, the promises I keep. So, and you have to be very cautious of the commitments you make to your people, because commitments one broken are very dangerous. There's a lot of distrust and negativity when that happens. So these leaders really want to invest in their people, and they want to build their careers. They give them empowerment, they give them a sense of direction, they inspire their people. So being influential leader is something which I really want every organization has should have such leaders. And in case there are more of the positional authority leaders, we can always work towards changing them towards influential leaders. So I think this is the way they should lead.
Okay. Can you share a personal example? Like you mentioned an influential leader. So can you share a personal example of a leader that you met and who was very influential, kind of your kind of?
Yes. So I would quote an example from my initial career days.
Okay.
I was working in a project. I had a manager who was unfortunately a positional one, and I had my colleague, and he was reporting to a person who was an influential leader. And our talks after office, the discussions we had, or the work related discussions, were completely different. That person was more engaged, my colleague was more engaged, more happy. He always woke up in the morning and looked forward to going to office and meet his supervisor and do some good stuff, and was so involved in his work. And there was less absenteeism and work from home request happening in that team. And versus my team, there was a lot of absenteeism, there was a lot of fake sick leaves taken, there were a lot of work from homes happening. And so for me also, I felt that that person is very positional and he's using his authority, and I couldn't relate much, and I was a bit disengaged, very honestly. I was just 23 that time.
Oh.
And but the other one is still in touch with his supervisor. He's his like his mentor, and they are in touch, and there's a lot of respect, there's a lot of trust happening. So that's the difference between a positional leader and a influential leader. So 15 years down the line, still my colleague is in touch with his mentor, with his supervisor, whom he met 15 years ago. So that's the
Yeah,
difference, I would say.
completely agree with you. Trust definitely plays a great role. Okay, Divya, we have some myths regarding the organization culture. So I would like you to clear my myths.
Sure.
So first myth is my favorite. Pay raises can lead to a better culture.
I think this is seriously a myth, and money can't buy happiness, my friend. And I think giving, being fairly paid is really important, but other aspects of the culture or other aspects also play heavily on an employee's mind, I would say. So being connected to the organization, that feeling of appreciation, being recognized, that feeling when your boss is really appreciative about you and invest a lot of time in your career. I think those are other factors which are really important when an organization really makes the employee understand what's the impact his work is making to the larger purpose of the organization is very important, and money alone really can't buy happiness.
Okay, then let's jump to second myth. Culture is HR's responsibility.
No, not at all. Culture is not at all alone HR responsibility, is everyone's responsibilities. Is It's the cohesive thing, and I think which we are doing. Initially, I agree, founders and the HR, they evangelize the organization culture, they create the organization culture, but culture is constantly changing and it should change. And it's an employee powered concept. And I think, as I mentioned earlier also in my conversation, employees are the real advocates for your culture, and that's the reason I think HR is not alone responsible. It takes a village to create a good, a strong, a meaningful organization culture.
Yeah. Okay. And leaders can't rebuild company culture. How far is that true?
No, I think leaders can rebuild, because I think a poor organization culture can be a byproduct of a poor leadership. And a good leader, a new leader, or an improved leader can definitely turn the table around, and that new improved leader can definitely connect well with the employees and create that sense of camaraderie between the employees. So I think leaders can rebuild if they really want, genuinely care for the people they want. They can rebuild the culture.
Okay. So jumping on to our fourth myth, creating a strong culture costs a lot of money.
No, I think this is also a myth. Of course, you said earlier all of these are myths. I think truly that these are myths only. I know big brands, they have big budgets assigned to build culture, get their reportings done, and all those things. But I think only thing which is required is the major thing is your time. You have to invest a lot of time in building organization culture. You have to be patient and see things happening. And I think time and patience are the two key factors and the two biggest investment any organization can make, apart from only throwing cash.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And our last myth is appreciation is not that important. Well, I think
My whole conversation
Yeah.
was moving around appreciation,
Appreciation.
recognizing, but I know the leaders who are at the topmost leader, they are very. It's very difficult for them to connect with the frontline workers. They don't emotionally connect, but that connection is very important. Appreciating their small wins is very important to build a strong culture. So that is important, and it's very important for people to make HR maybe to make senior leaders understand the importance of appreciation. That some organizations are neglecting that, but that shouldn't be neglected. What I think. So.
Okay, Divya, thank you for clearing our myths. Now let's jump back to our question session. So, Divya, please tell us like how can a leader maintain a positive organization culture during times of crisis or changes, like the crisis we saw last year, the COVID-19 pandemic. How can a leader maintain a positive organization culture at that time?
I think those are the really testing times for any organization and any leader, I would say. Those are really tough times, and to leaders and organizations, sustain its current organization culture is a task, and it's really not easy. I feel, of course, as you mentioned, the corona crisis which happened recently, the only organization who had strong leaders, who had strong organization culture, were able to survive, I would say. Otherwise, the corona, the pandemic, the lockdowns, they had immense pressure on everyone in the organization, and it wasn't easy to sail through that time for the organizations because we were unprepared. that
Yeah.
certain pandemic would happen and all the things would happen suddenly. So yes, I think this is the time, really testing time, tough times, and the organization culture is changing, it is evolving, and it is meant to change, it's meant to evolve. And I think it's a right time for the leaders to bond with their employees, make connection with their employees, feel that emotional connect with their people, not only because they're doing some work for you, for your organization, but on the human grounds. I think really important to connect with your people, because you have to come out with flying colors, I think, in such crisis situations as well. There are some ways in which leaders can sail through. Is first is frequent communication. Communicate to your people, talk to them. It should be a two-way dialogue. Talk to your people, understand their pain. Really listen with empathy. I think act with empathy. It should not. You should not only pay lip service to this point which I am saying. You should really do by heart. I think frequent communication, honest, candid communications would help. Try and understand the pain of the people, try and understand what's happening in their personal life. Everyone is working from home. There are conflicts at home happening because kids have certain routine, their spouses have certain routines. So you need to understand the needs of the employees too. You should not micromanage. Trust your people. Reports have shown that when people work from home, they perform better, they feel more empowered, they feel more trusted. So trust your people, don't micromanage. Nobody likes micromanaging, somebody holding your neck throughout the day. It's really not good practice. I think there should be more ways of connecting with your people through different mediums. We can You can do some initiatives like virtual coffee breaks all together, a time to connect, to gel up with your team, since no one can move out of their houses, everyone is working from home. I think there were organizations who did some unique activities or took unique initiatives in the time of pandemic. Example, there was an organization which I know, they initiated some of the competitions like photography competition, or there was virtual talk shows happening with the senior leaders. I think we can take certain initiative. I think next step can be, you should recognize and appreciate your people, which I always mention throughout my talk. You should genuinely appreciate their small efforts. I think this is the time to reinforce your values, reinforce your culture in these difficult times. I think these are the only things which a leader and organization should follow a time of crisis, to build a stronger organization and to come out together as an organization, a stronger organization. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Divya. This was a very genuine answer, I can really say. Uh, so, any concluding comments that you want to add to our leaders who are watching right now?
Yeah, concluding comments. See, I would like to mention that your culture is really unique to you. It's very special to you. It makes your organization special. I think a lot of efforts and thoughts should be put in while developing your organization culture. I think there you cannot copy and paste someone else's corporate culture to your organization. I think there should be a want to do the culture work on your own. I think there should be a want, need to do that. I think that's it. What I want to say is just believe that your organization is unique and you need to care about your people, have all the good intentions, and I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Divya. It was a very great session with you.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this lovely podcast. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you to all our viewers who are watching us till now. I hope that this podcast will genuinely give you information regarding the importance of organization culture. And stay tuned for our next podcast. We will definitely be posting on our YouTube channel. Hello to all our
Hello.
hello to all our viewers. Welcome to our very first podcast.
We have a culture which is
बंद हो गया?
हाँ अच्छा we have a culture which is very unique, and I'm
Okay, Divya, let's jump. भाई क्या? Okay, Divya, thank you for clearing our myths. Now let's cut.